was interesting. It's interesting the debate that happened last week regarding Medjugorje. And at the end of the press conference, Cardinal Fernandez was asked about Garabandal, which in the Catholic world has been well discussed. Cardinal Fernandez gave it a grading of Curatur, which in the new norms is up there. It's the third highest level of approval. Below that approval of Curatur, you have submandato, prohibitur et abstrutur, and declaratio de non supernaturalitate. So it's up there. Cardinal Fernandez says, while various and significant critical elements are noted, the messages weren't any old messages in Garabandal. At the same time, the phenomenon has already spread widely, and there is verifiable spiritual fruits connected to Garabandal. In this situation, a ban would upset the people of God is not recommended. Nevertheless, the Diocesan Bishop is asked not to encourage this phenomenon, but to seek out alternative expressions of devotion and possibly reorient its spiritual and pastoral elements. So that is where Garabandal sits at the moment on its process of getting fully approved, getting its Nihil obstat. Now, it's interesting the discussion we're having regarding these different Marian sites. And, we live in this era of Mary since the miraculous medal, really, over the last 200 years, where Our Lady, our mother, has been warning us, you seem to be going on the wrong path. You are going on the wrong path. You are distancing yourself from God. You are, need I say more? Heaven hasn't been quiet. And regarding Garabandal, the messages are truly prophetic for our era. And it's interesting that Cardinal Fernandez says that it's already spread widely, and there are verifiable fruits connected to it. So there are verifiable fruits connected to Garabandal. That's what Cardinal Fernandez is saying. That's what the Vatican is saying. And in this situation, a ban would upset the people of God. So a ban on Garabandal would upset the people of God. That's what Cardinal Fernandez said in his press conference when he says he's giving it a sub-curatur or curatur status, which is on the 6 levels of recommendations on an apparition site. From Nihil obstat to constat de non supernaturalitate curatur is the third highest approval that you can get. Now, why is Garabandal so controversial? Well, the messages obviously are controversial, especially when it comes to talking about the clergy back in the early 1960s. And who in the world would invent such a message in Catholic Spain in the early 1960s? Think about it, especially 4 young girls. They weren't going to make themselves any friends from the clergy. Our Lady is saying, look what you're doing. What is happening here? And what did we see play out in the next 60 years? Especially when it comes to the Eucharist. Thankfully, the Vatican seems to be cautiously listening to what has happened in Garabandal, because it's not any old message or apparition or something like this. It's truly stark, and it's very prophetic. It's extremely prophetic in what Our Lady is saying to the church back in very Catholic Spain, very Catholic rural Spain in the early 1960s. So, I do think people should take an interest in this in this message, these apparitions. The Vatican obviously hasn't ruled constat de non supernaturalitate for Garabandal. They also haven't said prohibitur et absturatur, which is the second lowest, or submandato. They haven't given the 3 lowest rulings on Garabandal. Cardinal Fernandez says curatur. Okay, that's fine. Read the messages of Garabandal. Read the messages of Garabandal and say to yourself, gosh, these seem to have played out very, very precisely in the life of the church. You know, look at all the abuse scandals. Look at Father Marcial. Look at the Legionaries of Christ. I mean, and it's not just, look at various founders of various congregations. The Brothers of St. John in France. Look at what Pope Benedict wrote in his last book about what they were doing in German seminaries. And we wonder why German bishops are the way they are. Well, look at the formation. 10 years ago, look what was happening in Irish seminaries. Look what happened in Thurles. You know, I'm just relating, look at what happened in the life of the church as we turned away from our Lord Jesus Christ, as we turned away from the faith. And do you not think Our Lady would warn us? Warn us. Give us signs. Look what happened in Quibejo. No, she's not appearing. No, these Marian apparitions, they need to be taken with a pinch of salt. Don't be getting... Our mother, our blessed mother is deadly serious in what we're doing by not listening to her. You know, I think people need to reevaluate and reread what, you know, I keep a picture of Garabandal here, because Garabandal is truly prophetic for our time. And we need to pray. We need to pray because, you know, a lot of people seem to, you know, have disregarded her messages. You know, Akisha, Garabandal, Quibejo, Medjugorje are all messages for our time. For the church. Pray for the church. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.